the children, our children is tomorrow's future, and we need to have a safe environment for them. And like I said, the fire and rescue team, they really assisted me and trying to assist and give me the right equipment. So what my plea is now is that if it's possible that they can do the same, not to just me, but the whole of the ECD sector in the forum of Klapmuts and Stellenbosch, if they can assist them when it comes to the funding, when it comes to the paint and the equipment and the training, if they could be assisted in that way, we would be grateful, because we need to look at the safety of our children. Thank you very much.
I allow the Khoisan leadership to come, and whoever wants to speak. Okay, it's fine. Sure.
Goedemiddag, minister, chairperson, zelf ons, ik is baie blij om vandaag voor jullie te ontmoeten, zelf die onderburgemeester en die wat jullie samengebring het.
Good afternoon to all of you, Chairperson, and also to the Deputy Mayor. I'm glad that you've brought everyone else along from Parliament and government, local government.
Wat ik eindelijk met jullie gezegd, want ik is blij om voor jullie te ontmoeten. Ik het, als een jong zien begint te werken voor het departement van Bosbouw, Waterwezen, Visserijen enzovoorts. En wel, ik heb 4 jaar gewerkt ook aan die bouwspan. Die ouders wat die houtstructuren, huizen gebouwd.
Thank you. I just want to say, when I started working, I worked for agriculture, forestry and fisheries as a young man, yes. Yes. Okay. And I also worked in the building trade for a period.
Maar wat ik ook opgeleid had, ik heb weggegaan en toen weer teruggekomen. Nou, die laatste keer heb ik 34 jaar gewerkt voor die departement. Ons het oorbeweeg moest naar Safcoal, Mondi en die maatschappij toe.
Yes, there was movement between Safcoal and the other companies, and the last time that I went to work, I worked there for 34 years.
You see, one of my colleagues, this woman, her husband started working when he was 15 years old with the department of Bosbouw. Wat ik ook aan jullie aandachtig wil brengen is dat ons praat van brandgevaren, zoals jullie nou bezig is met brandgevaren. Ik is blij dat jullie in die richting kijken. Maar wat ik opgeleid heb, dat die 4 feiten wat nou op die oomlik 4 bevecht, je weet daar verschillende opleidings. Die een is, wanneer jij plantaties of veldbranden doen, dan doen je voorbranden voor die plantatie. Zoals bijvoorbeeld...
Sorry. Yes. I just want to bring a couple of things to your attention. As you were speaking, it's right, you were speaking about the dangers of fires and so forth, but I want to speak about the different types of fires that we get in the area. I also noted that you spoke about the firefighters and the work that they do.
Je ziet dat wat ons vroeger jaren gemaakt heeft, ons heeft voorbranden gedaan. Van die plantaties, zodat die vuur niet kan verspreiden. soos die dame wat nou hier gewees het gepraat het van voorbrande. Sy het eintlik van voorbrande gepraat. Ons maak voorbrande sodat as die somer aankom, dat die vuur nie kan verder versprei as hy aankom nie, want daar word firebells gemaak.
In the plantations, what we used to do to assist with making sure that fire doesn't become a big danger is that we had backburns. So when we had these backburns, if there was a fire, then it would of course not cross that area. That is similar to the fire breaks that we are speaking about in the Act.
Soos ons mense bly in houthuise. Hy bungalows, houthuise. Nou daardie houthuise kan baie maklik brand, want daar was 4 blitsers binne in die huise. Nadat ons na dorpsrichting oorbeweeg het, wat die municipaliteit nou by ons oor en ek is van by my soek saagmele, bosboom, lamot daar rond op ons het 4 blitsers in ons huise gehad.
We lived in bungalows, wooden structures, which of course if a fire occurs is a big danger. But in these bungalows we used to have fire extinguishers, and that assisted.
Op die oomblik is hierdie goed buite werking. Ons het die raadslid het so 3 jaar gelede, het die raadslid daar die mense laat kom na ons toe om vir ons te kon gesels met oor die 4 blitsers, maar hulle het verdwyn en ons weet nie meer as hulle bestaan nie. En hulle het nooit weer teruggekom na ons toe nie.
3 or 4 years ago, we had one of the councillors who actually came to speak to us, and they were going to get experts to come and speak to us about how the fire extinguisher should be used to prevent or to maintain fires, to make sure that it doesn't spread in the areas where we lived.
Die een speaker was so even reg wat hy gesê het, dat is jammer wat julle nou hier by Klapmuts is en ons mense wat eintlik in hierdie houtstrukture bly, by bosboudepartemente bly, se gronde nog op is, dat nie na hulle toe kan gegaan het nie.
The previous speaker, one of the previous speakers was right when they mentioned about the fact that the people that should be spoken to are the people who still live in wooden structures in areas that used to belong to forestry.
Baie dankie vir die tyd wat ek het.
Thank you very much for your time.
Atuachama kama gamske kaise kure kai kankans. Dat beteken alles wat ons doen, die Here is met ons. Ek groet julle in die wonderlike naam van die Vader. Kama gamske kaise kure kai kankans.
I just want to say, sorry.
Ek groet julle almal.
Respond. Wanneer jy groet, and then how do we respond?
How
do we respond to you as you are greeting us?
Die regeer is Allah se.
Allah se.
Tuachama.
Allah se.
Tuachama. Kaise kure. Kai kagas.
Dankie.
Ek wil my net voorstel, om my voor te stel vanmiddag, dat klink 'n bietjie snaaks, maar
Sorry, can I plead with you? This is our leadership. When they speak, can we accord them the respect and listen to them, please? This noise now, it's a bit disturbing. Can I plead with you? We're almost done. Thank
Ons
you.
is amper klaar, kan ons u net vra om stil te wees terwyl een van ons leiers praat asseblief?
baie dankie. Ek is paramount chief, 'n nasionale leier van die Khoi en San gemeenskap, die aboriginal volk van Suid-Afrika, in die suidpunt van Afrika. Ek kan vir julle baie verduidelik rondom dit, maar die tyd laat ons nie toe nie. Maar wat ek aan julle net 'n kort stukkie wil noem, is dat koi beteken mense.
I just want to introduce myself. It might sound funny, but I'm a paramount chief, a national chief, and from the area of the southernmost tip.
I'm from the area of the Berken River Valley in the Franschhoek Valley.
Of Franschhoek Valley.
Ja, ek is die leier van die Wemmerzoek, Kamp Boesman Kraal, wat gelees aan die Chimfusia Park.
What I neglected to mention earlier was that koi means people. People's people. That is what it means. And the area out in Franschhoek where I am is the Wemmerzoek group, as well as
Berg en Dwarsrivier Valley.
and Berg en Dwarsrivier Valley,
Ja, waar die Kamp Boesman Kraal gelees.
where the
Kamp Boesman.
Busman Crawl is.
Yes, baie dankie. Soos die vorige spreker, soos my elder het genoem het, dit is so dat ons as deel van die bosboumaatskappye, want ons het gewerk vir die staat, ons het oorgegaan vanaf die staat na Safcol, en ons is aandeelhouers van die staat, want die staat gee vir sy werknemers aandele. Hulle kon nou nie vir ons in geld aandele gee nie, want die geld het blykbaar op 'n kant weggeraak. Maar wat hulle aan ons minder bevoorregte mense gegee het, dat is grond.
I just want to mention too, as the elder before me had spoken, that we live on forestry land. It used to belong to the government, but then it moved over to Safcol, these companies. And while we haven't received remuneration in money, they have given us shares.
Ja, maar ek voel vanmôre as 'n leier, ek wil eers dit noem, ek is lief vir enige nasie op die aarde wat God geskaap het, want ons almal wat hier op die aarde woon, ons behoort aan God, ons is God se kinders, ek is baie lief vir elke nasie.
I just want to say that I love every nation because God has created all of us, and therefore I love all nations.
Maar ongelukkig, as ek die leier wat die breingemeenskap van Suid-Afrika verdedig,
But unfortunately, I'm the leader who is protecting the brown community of South Africa.
ja, dit is die volk, u het gehoor, die vorige sprekers, hulle frustrasie. Ons wil nie meer met frustrasies na byeenkomste toe kom nie. Ons wil na byeenkomste toe kom met blydskap. Met ander woorde, ons as die breingemeenskap, ons is Suid-Afrikaanse burgers. Ons is belastingbetalers, maar ongelukkig het ons nie deel aan dit wat gebeur binne in Suid-Afrika vir onsself nie.
As you've heard, a lot of people come here with frustrations and they tell us about the frustrations, and that is not what we want. We actually want we want to get together with joy and speak about what is happening. But unfortunately, in the community that I represent, could either be called the brown or the colored people, I represent them, and we have many challenges because we feel that those challenges are not addressed in this country.
Ja, wat my baie teleurgesteld laat voel is as volg. Wanneer ons as breingemeenskap ook iets wil mee begin, dan word ons verwyder. Ons, met simpel woorde, as ons ook 'n besetting doen vir ons gemeenskap, vir 'n voordeel vir ons jeug en sovoorts, dan word ons gebaklei. Soos wat met my uiteindelik gebeur aan die kant van Wemmershoek. Wemmershoek, die staatsbos, wat 'n kampeerplek gewees het vir ons mense. Daardie kampeerplek het vir hoeveel jaar stil gelê. Ek het maar net gaan deelname word van daardie kampeerplek en vir ons 'n kraal daar opgesit wat eintlik nie onwettig was nie, maar wat wettig was volgens die projek wat ons uitgerol het. Maar toe ek die plek in besit neem, toe het die munisipaliteit gekom en die munisipaliteit wou my van die plek af sit. Ek het aan die munisipaliteit genoem dat hulle het nie grond nie. Munisipaliteit het nog nooit in hulle lewe grond gehad nie. Munisipaliteit moet diens lewer op die gronde. Die gronde is oorgegee aan publieke werke. Dit val onder die minister van Public Works en dit is Patricia de Lille.
I just want to say that one of the challenges that we have is as colored or brown people here is that if we want to take in a section of land, then we are normally removed from it. Where we are living now, the group that I'm speaking about, used to belong to the state, to forestry. And it used to be a camping spot, and we've actually taken it over for our people. But then the municipality comes and then claims that the land belongs to them and they want to remove us from there. I just want to mention that municipalities do not own land. The land that I am speaking about falls under the Ministry of Public Works, and the Minister of Public Works is Patricia de Lille.
Ja, en wat my ook baie teleurgesteld laat voel is as volg. Munisipaliteit sit nou gronde wat aan ons op 'n regional mense behoort, sit hulle op tenders, wat heeltemal verkeerd is. Om daarmee te begin, wat ons mee besig as die Khoisan beweging, daardie gronde wat so los lê, wat so met fyn bos, daardie bos gebrand. As ons daardie gronde beweeg tot in die berge aan, wat tuine aanlê, krye tuine aanlê, dit is projekte, groentetuine aanlê, dit is projekte vir ons jeug. Ons jeug beland in die gevangenis as gevolg van hulle is werkloos. Ons wil die werkloosheidssyfer wil ons inkrimp, sodat ons mense self kan regeer. Met ander woorde, ons staan op 'n self-governance system. As ek net 'n voorbeeld moet maak, my huis het gebrand nou, Kersfees, voor Kersfees, die winkel het afgebrand. Daardie huis brand so gauw, maar gelukkig het die Here bestel dat my huis nie afbrand nie. Ek het die ondersteuning gekry van geen een nie. Ek weet nou nie hoekom die munisipaliteit my nie wou ondersteun is, maar seker omdat ek die Khoi en San leier is. Khoisan is nie 'n sekere nasie nie. Die Khoisan is die breinvolk van Suider-Afrika. Dit is die mense wat die eerste aan die suidpunt van Afrika kom woon het. Ons was bergbewoonde mense. Ons word nou uit die berg uit verwyder. As net nie reg nie. Ons moet kyk in die saak, speaker, onderburgemeester, julle moet dit baie streng opneem vanmiddag. Onthou, ons as die breinbevolking, ons veragter elke dag. Ons jeug sit in die gevangenis. Ons wil die jeug, wil ons in posisies insit, deur om hulle aan te leer, hoe kan hulle vir hulle self entrepreneur, sodat hulle vir hulle self kan iets beteken en iets kan doen. Onthou, die werk word nou casual werk. Jy werk nou, doen nou tydelike werk, jy kry nie meer permanente werke nie. Maar as die jeug begin om hulle self te kan employ, hoe mooi is dit nie? Wat ek vandag vra, speaker, hoekom ondersteun en help julle nie vir ons Khoisan gemeenskap nie? Help ons en ons sal die kinders help. Dan sal die bosbrande kan ons ook verwyder.
Firstly, I once more want to tell you about the disappointment that I have. The fact that the municipalities are now putting land that belongs to the Aborigines on tender. which is incorrect. This shouldn't be happening. We also, in the area that we live, we have different gardens that we are busy planting over there in a way to support our community, and it's also a type of job creation for the people living there. I want to say that I don't feel that we are being treated fairly because we are the first nation of the southernmost part of Africa. And as a brown or colored person, I feel that we are disregarded. We know that there are not many jobs anymore, and we are trying to empower our youth, our young people, so that they are able to get jobs. I also want to mention the fact that my house burned down recently, and after my house burned down, I sought help from the municipality, but I didn't get any assistance. And to my mind, this speaks to not being treated as a full citizen of this country.
Ja, ik wil afsluiten met die woorden. U hoor vandaag ons pleidooie als die breingemeenschap van Zuid-Afrika. Ik is blij dat ik met die onderburgemeester ons het al ontmoet en die speaker. Ik wil jullie moet vanmiddag een punt maken daarvan. Daar wat ik is, ik moet uit die rivier uit water drink. Ik wil graag mijn landbouw en mijn veeboerderij wil ik voortzetten daar van mijn gemeenschap. Ik wil tuinen aanleggen waar ik klaar reeds begin het voor mijn gemeenschap. Want ons ligt honger. Daar is baie werklooses rondom ons en binnen in ons gebied. En ik wil hulle pijn verlig doordat ik hulle lei. En ik wil hulle lei met een voorbeeld. Ik is bereid om te sterven voor die breingemeenschap van Zuid-Afrika. Maar wat ik ook nog eerlijk aandacht wil brengen, municipaliteitsspeaker, is dat ons gaan onze grond weer terugvat wat van ons af geonneem is. En jullie moet ons ondersteunen daarin en dat het moet, ja, Khoisan, ja, julle is die first indigenous nation. Ons geef vir die ander nasies, gee ons voordele, maar vir julle wat in Suid-Afrika gebore is, julle kry nie voordele nie. Waar is julle aandele in Suid-Afrika? So wat ek wil sê, ek het water nodig daar, ek het krag nodig daar, want dit was 'n kampeerplek van ons breingemeenskap, so hulle het dit afgesny en ek voel julle met 'n punt maak. Ek is 'n bejaarde man, ek is amper 70, maar ek veg nog steeds vir ons mense se inheemse regte en ek glo julle het ook harte van God gekry om vir ons mense te akkommodeer. Want onthou, julle moet vandag onthou, ek wil afsluit. Alles wat ons doen vandag, God wag vir ons. Ek is waterloos, ek is kragloos, ek bly daar by Jimbo Park. Dit is die naam wat ons gaan verander. Dat is 'n ou regime naam, ons soek nie daai name aan die nuwe bedeling van ons nie. Ons het die naam al reeds verander, maar ons werk deur die regte kanale. Daarom vra ek speaker, as julle voel of ons te wil kom besoek, daar by die kraal, ek sal dit hoog waardeer en ek sal vir julle ontvang met liefde. Maar kykie, hier's baie van ons mense wat miskien eers 'n stukkie brood het op die tafel en ek is baie lief vir julle. Ek het nog nooit vir julle afgeskiet nie, want ek is lief vir almal, maar ek wil hê julle moet ook lief word vir ons as die Khoisan gemeenskap van Suid-Afrika. Kyk aan gans, ama sê goed, kyk in kale met jou ama gans kyk sê kore.
I just want to thank all of you for listening to our pleas for assistance with the plight of our people. We are recognized as being the first nation of the southern tip of Africa, but we don't find any advantage in that. We are living in an area that does not have water being piped to us or electricity. We have to drink our water from the river. I have started many projects because I want to set an example for our people, especially those who are jobless, so that we can assist and empower them too. And I would really feel very good about it if you would come and visit the area where we live and see the area that we live in, look at the changes, and maybe assist with helping us to get tapped water in, and electricity in our area. I also want to say I love all nations and I love everyone, but yes, please listen to our pleas. Thank you.
People to come here. Mr. Trevor Abrams, Mr. Smith, yourself. Yeah. Then I'll allow the deputy mayor to say something. But as and when they are coming, I think there are issues that I need to deal with based on what has been raised by all of you. Mr. Kasim, there are issues that you have raised with us, and you're within your own right to raise them. But also, I think we need to say this. Our colleague, Mr. Hendricks, is a member of parliament representing Al-Jama. It's a fellow colleague like us in parliament. And then I think the way I understand how the constituency work, you are there at the mercy of your political party that send you there. And it's very critical that you give feedback to your constituents. That's the gap, but I'll talk to him. He's a very good friend of mine. So that most of the things, it's just a pity because it's overwhelmed. It's a one-man party representative. Maybe that's why it's difficult for him to then relate on the things that we're doing. But I'm privileged on all the committees that I've served. He has been a good attendee of my meetings. But there's an issue that I feel if we don't address it, we leave it like that in the open, it's gonna give us problems. The issue of us taking notes and throwing them away. That can't be right. I serve with these colleagues in front here. And I think we share, that's why you don't even see ANC, DA, EFF when we work. Because we have got a common objective here, you, our people, to serve you. And I can share with you now the program that we are having for this last term. We have set aside 2 days for the departments and all affected stakeholders. We have moved throughout all the provinces here, the last province here. There were issues that were raised that are agricultural related, municipal related, and then the department itself related when it comes to the issue of the environment. And then what we have done, we have set aside 2 full days. Because as and when we close here, it's our expectation that if there are issues that you have raised with the local here, the mayor must be able to follow those things up and write back to us. Because we are parliament, we understand what is our role as parliament. To say, once you raise issues with us, whether we don't belong to that portfolio, where you are represented, he has been raising issues that are quota-related, that I heard him saying that. And it's my responsibility as this chair to go share with my counterpart in parliament to say, as and when I was in what do you call this area? Klapmuts. These are the issues that were raised, and I feel you need to attend to them because they relate to your portfolio. That's what I'm trying to raise here to say. We don't take our people for granted because as well as we also appreciate that you took all your time. It's a Friday today. You could have been doing a lot of things, but you decided to come here. And once we reduce these hearings as talk shop, there's a problem. That's why we are here to listen, and we are saying, maybe from where we come from, some of us were raised. When people talk to you, you must provide solution. That's the bottom line. So I want to assure you, Mr. Kasim, to say, we are not that generation of, if you came across that MPs who does that. It's not us here. We follow up on issues that are raised with us. And that's why we value these public hearings very important and critical to us, because as and when, Mr. Simas, when you were raising issues there, I've learned certain things that I was not aware of. So to me, this hearing also, and to all of us, they are also eye-openers. You then sharpen our thinking, and then it strengthens our oversight responsibility. So I want us to go with that, so that we don't cloud things. If we have experienced that, for those who did that to you, I want to apologize on our behalf, but it's not this with this collective. That's the point that I wanted to bring home, so that it must be clear. Then, there are issues that you have raised that I've got a team here who can respond to. That's why I've asked. I'm glad I saw you coming. Welcome, Mr. Abrahams. Yeah, throughout our hearings, we'll ask your colleagues on issues that are related to your work. We'll ask them to respond to the issues as raised. And also, they've raised other issues that they felt we need to consider. And then I've always traveled with departmental staff. You are not alone, Mr. Smith. You've got two colleagues there. Just stand up to show him that you are supporting him. So, and yeah, there are plenty of them you can see. So, all the issues that they were raising, he's going to respond to the technical issues. Certain issues are for us because this bill is with us now in Parliament. To say, all these issues that you have raised here, we need as when go to deliberate, because this is the term we are going to use to deliberate. We want to finalize this bill before Parliament rises in December. That's why you are the 9th province we are visiting. We've been hard at work, I must tell you, since May. So those are the issues that we need to then I've allowed somebody also asked me, do I have chance to comment? I think it's Mr. Adele, to say you can still write. That's why we've given you forms. Don't go with them. If you have written submission, hand over to the staff there at the corner, so that we are able to then consolidate your submissions and inputs. So that's the issue. And there were those who were howling, people raising other issues. Because this is democracy in action, we allow people to speak. As long as we feel they are speaking sense, they are not insulting any other person, we'll allow them to speak. And that's why some of us, maybe, as Mr. Kasim was saying, we get paid for listening to people and then act on what people are saying. So these are some of the things that I felt I need to quickly address up front. Then if there are other issues that I feel they were raised, they were not attended to with the team that I've called here, and if also the deputy mayor doesn't address them, don't worry, we've got a mechanism wherein once we arrive back in the office, the team will isolate those issues and will write the relevant portfolio so that they keep on updating us, because your issues, as and when you raise, we are here for the bill. And if strictly we had come here for the bill, we would have long gone here. But because we know that Parliament is the last resort, if people cannot talk to us as Parliament, where do you think they will go to? That's why we allowed you to speak as much as you can. But I must say you have been very much amazing. You have raised issues straight to the point, and then the only thing that I hear was the 50-50 support, but the majority of you have supported the bill. You just enhance it. These are the issues that you are going to consider as we finalize the bill. Then I thought, Mr. Abrahams, you'll say something. Then Mr. Smith respond to all those questions that has been raised. And then the deputy mayor will also do that. And then the colleague will tell you what is the way forward on the matter. Over to you, Mr. Abrahams.
Good afternoon, Honourable Chair, Honourable members of the committee, Deputy Mayor. My name is Trevor Abrams. I'm the Managing Director of Working on Fire. I'm not from Klapmuts. We do have one team, however, close by here in Jonkershoek, as was referred to. Chair, I'd like to make just 3 types of comments. One is specific to the bill. And we should indicate that we have participated in, this has been long in coming. We've participated in various forums where it's been canvassed. So not as if we were not having opportunity to give input. But listening here today, I think there's one point that does stick out. If you look at the section where 1G, and it defines a Veldfire, it's on I've got one that just deals with amendments. I think it's page 3. Yeah, it's amendment to section 2, section 1G. It's a definition. It says any vegetation fire that occurs outside of a city or town. Right? And I think that's the issue which, in legal terms, I have some concerns. Because one of the aspects of the danger of wildland fires is what we refer to as the wildland-urban interface. If you look what happened in Neisner, it wasn't outside the town. The town had to be evacuated, So Veld and Forest Fire Act is not something simply outside of the town. What you heard many of the community members talking about fires that start there but come into our houses. So it's an established term internationally, wildland-urban interface, because we, in terms of our habitation, are going more into the wildland areas, so-called wildland areas, and the two are interacting. So that distinction of something outside of town and the red fire brigades inside of town is not a very useful one. And I think the kind of definition we see here is something of concern, okay? I think the second issue that we want to relate is an implication of the bill. I think it's a very creative way we've gone about dealing with wildland fires, namely what was called the Veld and Forest Fire Act before. We called for the creation of fire protection associations. Now, I can imagine if you take the South African landscape, both political and geography, if you are expecting people to associate locally as voluntary associations, FPAs, we can anticipate a lot of challenges. And I think if we go forward as a country believing that this is going to solve our problems without looking at the mechanics of fire protection associations, we are going to fool ourselves. We, as working on fire, work very closely with fire protection associations. And many of our teams are based with fire protection associations. But the state of fire protection association in the country is very uneven. And over the time, through neglect, many of them have come together and accumulated into bigger groupings and done very well. But that's not the story across the country. Communities are left out of the equation, and very good for this bill is saying, municipalities, you have to be part of it. SOEs, you have to be part of it, right? So that's the good part. But saying be part of it and hope it just lives and does what it's supposed to do is not enough. It's been a subject of governmental neglect. So one can imagine the issue of governance in these structures, accountability, and recently we saw the department proposing simply to give 7,200 to each one. And we said this is a very complex area where we have not had the proper management from government or guidance or direction. And yet it's an important part of our ability to deal with this threat. The third issue, and I don't want to delay matters here, is a little bit of step back from the bill. And that is, with the threat of climate change, and as we presented to Parliament in that portfolio committee in that hearing, this is not enough. This is not enough. We've got FPAs that don't have enough resources, not have enough guidance. We're talking about the crisis growing. COP26 already mentioned that we're sitting with fires, we're sitting with floods, and we see it. It's happened. Honorable Bryant, you asked us about disaster fires. After last we spoke to you, we had a 9-day fire in Northwest, right? Which, what we call a disaster fire is multiple days, lots of damage, and we had to be called in at the last minute to bring in helicopters and aerial resources to do it. The government doesn't have any aerial resources. This is a private company. Now, here's the irony. Right now, as I'm talking here, our company, Kishugu, is bidding to provide aerial resources to the European Union. Why? They've had fires and they've come together and said, we need this capacity. We don't have that clarity here at home. And gladly we built up this capacity over 19 years. We have a fleet of 11 choppers and 4 bombers and 15 spotters, which we move around the country seasonally. But Northwest had no choppers or nothing. We had to move it from elsewhere. So if we expect, as the UN is saying, by 2050 we're going to have 30% more fires, by the end of the decade 50% more, this is not going to be enough. I mean, that's the message I'm saying very clearly. So it's beyond the bill, but I think it's also important for us to indicate that. I think the Deputy Mayor would certainly know our activities here in the Stellenbosch area. And we're critical, and here very often very valuable resources are placed at threat. Now, if we say climate change is going on, I don't know what's going to be said at COP27, right? We're not part of that process somehow, but all over the world, the studies are coming and said fires are getting worse. What are we as a country doing? So that's beyond the bill, but I think relevant to what the bill is intended to address. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thanks. Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, Deputy Mayor, and the traditional leadership, and the people of Klapmuts at large. Goeiemorgen. My name is Winston Smith. I'm from the Department of Forestry and Fisheries in the Subdirectorate Veld Fires. I think first of all one have to look at, before we start about the amendment and the technicalities, there is currently an existing bill that is in place. And what we're doing is, and that bill is there to prevent and combat forest veld fires. And that is a starting point, and these amendments are just to strengthen some of those provisions. And the first thing that was mentioned quite often is that, how do we enforce the Act? And one of the things currently in the Act is the police officer and the fire protection officer. That's the only people. But this amendment made now provision for a peace officer to come in and also traditional leaders. So that is one way in which we're strengthening it. And to add to that is we also now start dealing and working closely with the police. We already started in the Northwest, and we're also rolling it out to the prosecutors, saying this is what the Act said, this is the role and the responsibility of all the role players. So we are starting and intensifying that process. So enforcement is critical, and that will ensure that we are successful in this bill. That was mentioned by Dale about the fire provision. I think we'll just have to really look at why we went back on that, and then see whether we have to reintroduce that. I think that the question was raised about the long grasp on the municipal land. The municipal state-owned land, and all owners of land outside the urban edge must comply to the law. So there's also consequences if we don't comply with them. Okay, too far. Okay. Okay. Is it better, Chair? Hello? Okay. Okay. Okay, thanks. So the question was raised that the grass next to the roads, the municipal land, is not being attended to. The municipality is state land, and all landowners must comply with the Act. So if they don't comply to the Act, one can obviously look at the penalties and go to the police and take a charge against them. The issue was raised about projection. It's an alien species, and the department's got a Working for Water program that especially address the projection and all other invasive trees. I think the one member raised the issue of how can we delegation of the Act to the district, municipality, and local. The Act made provision for that. I think it's section 22. You can, but there are some exceptions to that. I think the same speaker also said, how can we not delegate the helicopters to the local municipality? And I think Mr. Abrams said correctly that most of the helicopters belong to the private entities, private companies, and we cannot overstep our boundaries in that regard. The question raised about bylaws and this Act, I think in general is that this act is a principal act in veld fires, and the bylaws basically support them. And bylaws is predominantly more focused into your urban areas, but they are supportive of one another. The issue was raised about awareness. I think in this area, in the way in Klapmuts is maybe less, was raised less in the other areas. Most areas, awareness and equipment was raised. In this case, not. But I think what was quite good is that the truck stop idea. I think that is quite a good idea. Go out to the truck stop, talk to the drivers, don't throw out cigarette butts, and also intensify that awareness campaign. The definition of the urban interface raised by Mr. Abrams, it was raised quite often in all of our consultations, and I think it's been taken to note, and we will definitely take care of that. In terms of climate change, I think climate change will change the landscape, and I agree that this bill won't address it by itself. And for that reason, we have to do it a couple of things. We'll have to ensure that the Fire Brigade Act, the amendment currently under the fire white paper of the Fire Services Act is being implemented. We have to look at the roles of the municipality with the Fire Brigade Services Act. So all role players and do their bit, I think we can achieve more. The state-owned enterprises, if they start joining your FPAs, that will also assist. And during our consultations, some of the speakers said that state-owned enterprises and municipalities, they account for 60% of the fires. So if one starts bringing all those together, one can reduce the risk of veld fires significantly. What we're doing in the department currently with this bill and through this consultation that we picked up is that we are now looking at two things. Is first of all, how do we increase our risk mapping? How can we inform the public of which areas are at risk? So we've started the process of risk mapping South Africa again. We've done it 10 years ago, but we're going to do it at a smaller scale soon. And we will update it quite often. The issue that Mr. Abrams, for example, raised, and it's been raised in numerous places, is the functionality of fire protection associations. Some of them are strong, and some of them are extremely weak. What we've done is, and we're actually coming to the House very soon, is with a strategy on fire protection support. And that support that we want to give is twofold. The one is the financial support, and one is a non-financial support. And one of those non-financial support is how do we do the corporate governance just between the government departments, the PDMC, ourselves, agriculture, and the like. So there is a strategy being rolled out at this stage so we can strengthen the FPA. And then lastly, I think it's that if one look at the amendments being made, this will not be the last time that we are making amendments. As we go along, in 5 years' time, we will come back and we will again maybe make more amendments. But as I said, lastly is that we are about to enter the fire season in this part of the country. And all I can say is that we have to be vigilant. And for me, I says, maybe something we have to keep. Don't start a fire that you can't control. If we do that, I think we'll save the country. Thank you, Chair.
Fair enough for the day. Oh, I nearly forgot you. Let me hand over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and esteemed committee members. I want to start by reiterating our municipality's approach to tirelessly work at transforming our municipality, our communities, our broader society as custodians of hope through unlocking the endless possibility our valley holds treasure. This commitment, Chairperson, is shaped by our understanding of the historical, spatial, social, and economic inequalities in our valley. But despite many challenges, especially the impact of the COVID pandemic, as a municipality, it is important to note the importance of having a serving, experienced, third-term mayor supported by a second-term municipal manager.
Okay. They must interpret
Oh, apologies.
the benefit of the others. You were listening, no? No, it's fine. Ah, yeah. Sleeping on do. Continue. You must listen now and interpret, yeah? Okay?
I just want to reiterate the previous statement that I made. Despite many challenges that is faced by our municipality, especially the impact of the COVID pandemic, as a municipality, it is important for our residents to understand the importance of having a serving, experienced third-term mayor, supported by an experienced second-term serving municipal manager.
Manphinde apho ke bendiqale khona ukuthi nangona kukho imingeni emininzi esisahlangana nayo singumasipala ingakumbi emveni koba besike sadibana nobhubhane we-COVID sifune siyiqonde into yoba ke kubalulekile kakhulu ukuthi sifumane usodolophu afumane unyaka wokuqala omhle wokusebenza uze ulandelwe ngunyaka wesibini olandelayo wokusebenza exhaswa ngabantu abasebenzisana nabo kanye ngamagosa neenkqubo ezifanelekileyo ezizawuthi zimenzele lula ukwenza umsebenzi wakhe.
And of course, Madam Chair, this enables our municipality to not only get clean audits, but it gives effect to service delivery and not just lip service.
Ngaphezu koba ke afumane uphicotho olungenachaphaza kubalulekile ukuthi ukongeza apho afumane inkonzo engenachaphaza anikezele inkonzo ngokufanelekileyo ezidingekayo kuluntu.
Madam Chair, I also want to reiterate that obviously, as a caring municipality, we always value the contributions of our community members, and you are an integral part of our municipality.
Kwakhona ndiphinde nditsho njengoba benditshilo ukuthi ke igalelo lamalungu o abahlali esisebenza kunye nabo kanye sibasebenzelayo ibaluleke kakhulu kwinkonzo esizinikezelayo. Ndiyafuna ukutsho ndiqinisekise ukuthi nina abahlali niyindima ebaluleke kakhulu kuthi singumasipala.
And of course, the fire, this bill, the amendments, as well as the effectiveness of the implementation will have a huge impact not only for our communities, but also for our municipality.
Kukhona ke lo mthetho sihlomelo singawo ungemililo wazamadlelo kuqinisekileyo uzawudlala indima ebalulekileyo kakhulu kuluntu lwethu nomasipala wethu.
En natuurlijk, een van die belangrijkste punten, dit is absoluut belangrijk dat allemaal moet verstaan, net soos nasionale regering, is ons ook as 'n munisipaliteit afhanklik van inkomste, toelaas en befondsing.
Kwaye ke ngokuqinisekileyo kubalulekile ukuthi siyiqonde loo nto singabahlali ukuthi njengomasipala ngokufanayo kunye norhulumente wesizwe sixhomekeke kwiimali esinazo ukuze sikwazi unikezela inkonzo.
Chairperson, we understand the of response in time when it comes to fires. And that is why, Chairperson, under the leadership of our Executive Mayor, we have extended or opened up extra fire stations. In 2019, for instance, we opened a satellite fire station in Klapmuts, in the community of Klapmuts in 2019. We also opened up a satellite fire station in Franshoek that a gentleman was earlier referred to relating to response time. So we are actively trying to be innovative of how to better service delivery. Also, Madam Chair, it is important to note that despite facing many challenges regarding income, we were also able, especially to residents in the informal settlements, there is a fire kit that is called Fire Killer. And it enabled us to assist members in helping us to, when a fire starts, try to distinguish it as soon as possible, while fire or emergency services is still underway. Then, Chairperson, obviously we are committed to service delivery. I've written down all the inputs of our community members and will provide feedback to the community through the ward councillor, who is here in attendance, Councillor Anthony.
Kwakhona njengoba ke seyichaziwe imingeni nemingcipheko ekhoyo etidaleke xa kuthe kwaqhambuka imililo, abantu bakhalazile ngamaxesha ekuvele kusatyelwe ngalo ukuza uncedo xa kuthe kwaqhambuka imililo. Sizamile ukuvula i-satellite station eziyi-20 apha kulo mmandla, ngolo hlobo ke sizama ukuhlangabezana nexesha i-firefighters ezikhawuleza zifike ngazo kwindawo ekuqhambuke kuyo umlilo. Nangona kunjalo sekhona izikhalazo ayikagqibeleli ukwenzeka indima esiyidlalayo. Siphinde saveza inkqubo ekuthiwa yi-fire killer ezothi xa kuqhambuke umlilo ikhawuleze ikwenze kube lula kubantu bethu abahlangula imililo uba bakwazi ubhaqa ukuthi lo mlilo undawoni kanye kanye. Zonke ezo zinto sidinga imali ukuze ziyakwazi ukwenzeka.
Madam Chair, with your permission, Mr. Claassen, Mr. Kasim raised a point, and I would like to elaborate on it, specifically because I am the MMC for Integrated Human Settlements as well within our municipality. I want to start by saying, yes, Mr. Kasim, you are absolutely right. I am a resident of Cluttersville myself.
Ngegunya lakho ke sihlalo ndiyafuna ukuhlomla ke kwintetho ephakanyiswe umnumzana uKhasim nanjengoba ke ndim ojongene necandelo lezokuhlaliswa koluntu. Umnumzana uKhasim unyanisile into azithethayo, sinayo inkqubo eyokujongana ke kunye nendawo nendlela zokuhlaliswa koluntu. Ndinguye umhlali walapha kule ndawo, ndiyayazi le nto athetha ngayo.
Madam Chair, I also grew up as a backyard dweller myself. So I understand the needs of our community people. But Madam Chair, it is also important for our communities to understand that they need to take ownership as well.
Kodwa ke sihlalo kubalekile ukuthi uluntu lona qala mabayazi abahlali ukuthi nabo kufanele babe noxanduva balidlalayo.
And specifically I want to touch also a bit on active citizenry.
Kwakhona ke ndifuna uthetha ke ngendima yokuba ngummi osebenzayo.
For instance, Chair, an illegal Wendy house that Mr. Kasim referred to was erected next to a power unit that supplied power to 24 rental units at one of our flats.
Le ndawo umnumzana uKhasim athetha ngayo yayakhiwe kufutshane nendawo ebonela ngombane i-power unit ebonela indawo ezingama-24.
So immediately, by putting up an illegal sec next to a power box, it immediately created a fire hazard.
Ngokuqinisekileyo ngokanangoko xa kuthe kwakhiwa isakhiwo esingekho semthethweni kufutshane nendawo yombane, loo nto iyona qala ibeka umngcipheko ukuqhamuka kemililo.
And when law enforcement arrived to address the issue, they were met by hostile community members.
Xa befika ke i-law enforcers izozama ukuhlangula kuloo meko, bafikelela kubahlali abaganunwabu ukuba nomsindo.
And Madam Chair, as Mr. Kasim is aware, that illegal structure then burned down, causing a huge power loss for all our 24 units.
Njengoko umnumzana uKhasim betshilo ukuthi ke esa sakhiwo sasakhiwe ngokomthethweni saye satsha, loo nto yabangela umonakalo omkhulu wokuqhawuka kombane kwii-units eziyi-24 esasitishi sasijongene nazo.
Resulting not only the loss of power, but also it had a big impact on the livelihoods of the community members that Mr. Kasim is a part of.
Lo monakalo awunelanga nje kukudala ukuba makungabikho mbane kulaa ngingqi okanye kweza units, ukuye wabangela nokuthi abanye abantu baphelelwe sisonka ababexhomekeke kulaa mbane, aba bantu bethetha ke ngabo umnumzana uKhasim.
And obviously, Ms. Chair, that puts so much pressure on us as a municipality because we are governed by MFMA. We can't just take money left, right and center. We have to be accountable for it. But the community was then left without electricity for 2 weeks because
Ewe njengoko senditshilo sihlalo loo meko yasibangela sibe sengxakini enkulu kakhulu yezimali kuba kaloku imali silawulwa ke ngumthetho ulawula imali zikarhulumente i-MFA i-PMFA ethetha ukuthi asikwazi uvele siyifake ezandleni engxoweni karhulumente sithatha imali nje nanjani na kumele kukho inkqubo ekufuneka zilandelwe phamba sikwazi ufumana imali kwingxowa karhulumente.
Thank you. And that is why I'm touching on it, Madam Chair. The community need to support us as municipalities. We need the support, the buy-in of all community members, because we as a municipality can't do it alone. And obviously, Madam Chair, one small mistake of a person led to an expenditure for
Njengoko benditshilo ukuthi ke kubalulekile indima yomntu ngamnye ekufuneke idlalile ukuthi size sikwazi ukusebenza singumadinga inkxaso yabo abantu ubalulekile ukuthi ke xa singumasipala kwizinkqubo sizenzayo esizise ebantwini zenkonzo abantu funeke beziqondile nabo babe noxanduva abalidlalayo ukwenza ukuba kungabi nzima kuthi singumasipala ukunikeza ezo nkonzo siza nazo.
Madam Chair, also as a municipality to better service delivery within our communities, we've come up with an innovative system called Let's Fix It, where members from the public can report any issues within their communities. It is a system that is monitored via the WhatsApp group, where people can address all issues, Madam Chair.
Ukuzama ke uhlangabezana nale nkqubo yobafuneke sifumene intsebenziswano noluntu sibe nenkqubo esivezayo esiqalayo ekuthiwa ngu-Let's Fix It apho ke abantu banelungelo lokusibhalela imiyalezo nezikhalazo abanazo neengcebiso abanazo kwi-group ka-WhatsApp.
Madam Chair, in conclusion, once again, I have made notes of all the matters that was raised here today. I will definitely follow it up with our municipal manager, and then I will provide feedback through the ward councillor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ekwakhona hlalwa njengoko benditshilo okugqibela ukuthi sizawuzilandela zonke ezi ndawo zithe zaphakanyiswa apho uthe funeke ndizilandele ndiziphakamise nakumeya kamasipala kuze kubekho ingxelo eziswa eluntwini ngokusebenzisa uward councillor. Enkosi ke sihlalo.
It's feedback through the ward councillor to the community and feedback through a covering memo by the executive mayor to us in parliament.
Ifeedback ke kubahlali iza nge-councillor kanti ke kuthi siyiparlamente funeke siyifumene ngembalelwano ethunyelwa ngusodolophu eparlamente achaza ukuthi ngezi zikhalazo ziphakanyisiweyo benze ntoni ngalena nalena nalena funeke beyicwangcisile bethumele kwikomiti eseparlamente ba benze ntoni ngezikhalazo zenu.
It is indeed in our best interest to know how have you resolved these issues that affect your municipality that we raised with us.
Kubaluleke kakhulu ke kuthi ukuthi siyazi ukuthi ke ezi ngxaki nithe naziphakamisa kuthi kwenziwe ntoni ngazo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you for coming.
Enkosi kakhulu kusekela sodolophu sibulela kwa ukuba makabe khona phakathi kwethu.
Yeah, at some point other people are too busy. You are mere coming. It's a way of showing your commitment to serving the people.
Kuba ke ngamanye amaxesha abantu abaninzi ke abantu bafana nawe bangabantu baxakekileyo kodwa ukuzohlala uzidine kunye nathi imini yonke kubonakalisa noko ukuzidina kwakho siyayibulela loo nto.
In some cases, others come and welcome us and they leave us.
Kwezinye indawo ke abanye bafika nje basamkele emveni koko basishiye.
But you have been staying put with us, so we don't take this for granted as well.
Kodwa ke wena uye wazidina wahlala kunye nathi.
Thank you so much.
Siyayibulela loo nto.
Honorable Gancho, can you share with the colleagues on the way forward?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Enkosi kuwe sihlalo.
Greetings to the Khoisan leaders,
Ndibulisa ke inkokheli zamaKhoisan,
my colleagues,
oxabam,
Deputy Mayor and the councillors present,
usekela sodolophu kunye noceba abakhoyo phakathi kwethu,
parliamentary staff,
abasebenzi beparlament,
and of course you, our VIPs, the community that is here.
kunye nabona abantu babalulekileyo banamhlanje bolusuku nina ke bahlali.
The chairperson has already mentioned that your inputs are very important to us.
Usihlalo selithethile ke indawo yoba ke ingcebiso enisinike zona igalelo lenu libaluleke kakhulu kuthi.
And indeed, you have raised valuable inputs and you are not taking them for granted.
Enyanisweni ingcebiso enisinike zona zibaluleke kakhulu zixabisekile asifuna udelela nanye ke kuzo.
You have empowered us.
Ndingatsho ndithi nisixhobisile ngamanye amazwi.
Moving forward, Chair, as this committee, we have listened to all your submissions.
Ukubheka phambili ke ndingatsho ukuthi njengale komiti sinimamele nonke igalelo enithe nasinika lona nengcebiso enisixhobise ngazo.
We therefore going to invite the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment to come and respond to all the submissions that were made.
Kungoko ke sizawucela isebe ke leze kusingqongileyo amahlathi ukuthi lize ke kunye nezokuloba ukuthi lize lizosabela ke kwanye lizohoyana ke nezi ngxaki niziphakamisileyo.
And thereafter, as the committee will deliberate on the contents of the bill and taking into account all the submissions.
Emveni koko ke siyikomiti sizawuhlala phansi sike sihlamahlongwane ke lo mthetho sihlomelo siwuphetheyo ngalo lonke lo xesha xa siyenza nantoni esiyenzayo sizobe siziqwalasele ke ingcebiso nisixhobise ngazo.
We will then draft and adopt the report and debate it in the National Assembly.
Size ke siqulunqe ingxelo esiyawuthi ke kuyo sifake iziphakamiso siyoyithi thaca kwindlowiso mthetho yesizwe.
And subsequent to that, the bill will be referred to National Council of Provinces for them to embark on their own legislative process.
Xa igqibile ke leyo inkqubo idlulela ke le bill ke phaa kwibhunga lesizwe lamaphondo NCOP uze nayo yenze elayo igalelo ke lowulandela inkqubo zezomthetho.
And lastly, it will be sent to the President for assent and also to become an act.
Ize ekugqibeleni idluliselwe ke ngokumongameli ukuze sifumane ke imvumelwano yakhe aze athi ba uyaneliseka ayityikitye ibe ngumthetho osebenzayo.
That is the process that is going to follow.
Yiloo nkqubo ke ngoku ezawulandela ukususela ngoku.
We indeed, once again, thank all of you. We thank you for your inputs, even those who have made written submissions. We will look at those submissions. We will definitely implement it, as one of the speakers was raising, whether we are going to implement this or it's just a talk show. It's really not a talk show. We will make sure that the law is enforced. Thank you very much.
Sizawuqwalasela ke zonke iziphakamiso zenu njengoba nitshilo nisinikile ize ke sisebenzise sikhangele ukuthi sizawuqalisa nokusebenza sivile kukhona abantu abanengcinga zoba sidlulisana kunina ngozapha asizufezekisa nto kanti ke lo mthetho sihlomelo apho uphunyezwe khona uzawusebenza uqalisa usebenza.
Can you give yourself a round of applause?
Sicela siziqhwabele.
You have been amazing.
Nibe ngabantu abaziphathe kakuhle kakhulu.
You have been amazing.
Sisebenze kakhulu.
And then we want to thank you for that. Do I have any pastor in the house? Is there a pastor in the
Siyabulela
house?
kakhulu ngalonto ngabe khona umfundisi onosivalela ngomthandazo.
Okay, come to the phone. Did he pack his mic already? Okay. I'll be asking him to pray for you as you'll be going home, as you'll be traveling. Some of us are still traveling the whole of the Western Cape. And then also to pray for the refreshments that you are going to get after this. You stay put, then they will come and attend to you. They will tell you how we're going to deal with that, but yes, there are refreshments. And okay.
Sizamcela ke umfundisi asithandazele anithandazele xa nigoduka thina ke sisaqhubekeka ke ngalendlela asikagqiba usebenza uyasithandazela nethe endleleni aphinde athandazele nokusiwa phansi kwemfumlo okuzothi kunikezelwe ke kwezindawo sihleli kuzo sihlale kwendawo sihleli kuzo side siqalele ukuthi masiza kufumana njani na.
I want to thank all of you for coming.
Dinibulele nonke ke ngokuza kwenu apha namhlanje.
Can you see Dion at the end? Dion, show hands.
Dion,
Yes, that's the team that's gonna direct you on how to get out to get your refreshments.
Ngaba
Right?
tata ke bazonibonisa ukuba nizohamba ngaphi na ukuyofumana kusuka phantsi kwempumlo.
Just stay put, they will fetch you group by group until
Nihlale-
everybody gets whatever they have to get.
Nehlale ngolu hlobo nilulo ngabo abazozonilanda banise kule ndawo funeke nifumene kuyo ukusuka phantsi kwempumlo. Enkosi.
Can I ask you to pray for us?
Fundisi ke.
We are praying, we are praying.
Masitandasa, dis die enigste ding wat ek kan sê. Vader, in die naam van Jesus, Here, baie dankie, Here, vir so 'n mooi vergadering, Here. Baie dankie dat ons mekaar kon vind, Here. Dankie dat ons punte kon lig, Here. Baie dankie vir die regering wat vir ons kon luister, Here. Ek wil bid, Here, terwyl ons, Here Jesus, Here, vanmiddag, Here, gaan aansit om iets te gaan geniet. Here, kom seën die tafel wat vir ons voorberei is, Here. Die hande wat het gemaak het, Here. Elke persoon wat besig was met die organisering daarvan, Here. Here, kom seën hulle dubbelmatig. Here, terwyl ons gaan skei, wil U nooit van ons skei nie, Here. Bind ons met 'n band van liefde. Hulle wat vanmiddag gaan ry, Here. Here, na verskillende plekke, daar's die Oos-Kaap waar hulle gaan ry, daar's Wemmershoek, Here. Elke rigting waar hulle gaan ry, Here. Ek wil bid, bewaar en beskerm hulle, soos die appel van die oog, Here. Ek wil bid, Here, dat wat ons bespreek het hier, dat ons het sal uitvoer, en hier vanaf wegloop, Here, en mekaar se hande sal vat, Here. Ek wil bid vir wysheid, vir kennis, in alles, Here, waar ons gaan, Here. U is, Here, vanmiddag, die koning van die konings, wil U die verkeerde geleer, sny af elke ongeluk, Here, in die naam van Jesus. Baie, baie dankie, dat ons in U teenwoordigheid kan wees, in Jesus naam. Amen.
Thank you so much.
The meeting is adjourned.
Day one is in the back. Day one is in the back. Day one is in the back.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your service.
Okay.